Winnie the Pooh and a day for Eeyore Teddy Slater. Winnie the Pooh and a day for Eeyore. At the edge of the 100-acre wood, a lovely old bridge crossed a peaceful little river. Now the bridge was the favorite spot of Winnie the Pooh. He was often wandering there, doing nothing particular, but none of the such wandering. Suddenly, Pooh's mind off nothing, and something was a big brown pine cone which dropped plop right on his head. Pooh picked up the pine cone and gazed at it thoughtfully. As he walked around, he decided to make up a little poem, but while his head was occupied, he was trying to think of a word that rhymed with cone. His feet left his own devices, tripped over a tree root, and Pooh tumbled to the ground. Pooh kept on tumbling until he came to a stop on the bridge, just as the pine cone went skidding over the edge of the water below. "Oh, brother, Pooh, I suppose I should find another one." Now Pooh, in every intention, was doing just fine, but the river was slipping so peacefully beneath him that his thoughts began to slip away with it. "That's funny," Pooh said to himself. The pine cone drifted under the bridge, floating lazy downstream. "I dropped it on the sun side. It came to the other. He murmured also to himself. "I wonder if it would do that again." So he collected the rafter, large and rather a small cone, tossed it in the bridge face. Then he scurried to the other side and waited. "I wonder which one will come first," said Pooh. Well, it turned out the big one came out first. Then the little one came out last, which was Pooh's hope. And then there was beginning of the game called Pooh Sticks, named for his adventure, Winnie the Pooh. Now you might think it would be called Pooh Cones, but since it was easier to collect a handful of sticks than an armful of cones, Pooh made a slightly improved original game. So it came to the pass. The final day, Pooh, Piglet, Rabbit, and Roo were on the bridge playing Pooh Sticks. "All right now," Rabbit said. "The first stick to pass all the way under the bridge wins. On your mark, get set, go." Pooh, Piglet, Rabbit, and Roo threw the sticks onto the river. Then they raced over the other side of the bridge to see who would come first. "I can see mine," said Roo, shouted, pointing to the short black stick in the water. I win, he cried. Even the stick suddenly spread its wings, flew off to join the other dragonflies sitting about. "Can you see yours?" said Pooh. Piglet asked, peering down this gently flowing river. "No," said Pooh. "I expected my stick stuck." "They always take longer than you think," Rabbit assured him. Just as something's long, gray, and quick sacking float into the view. "Oh, I can see yours, Piglet," Pooh cried. "As you can see mine?" Piglet asked doubtfully. "Sure," said Roo. "It's a gray one. It's a very big gray one." "Oh, it isn't a rabbit. It's Eeyore." Everyone shouted. "Don't pay any attention to me," Eeyore muttered to his floated by his friend's tail first. "Nobody ever does." Rabbit leaned over the bridge. Eeyore cried, "What are you doing down there?" "I'll give you 3 guesses," Eeyore said flatly. "Fishing," asked Pooh. "Wrong," said Eeyore. "Going for a sail," Roo guessed. "Wrong again." "Waiting for someone to help you out with the river," Rabbit cried. "That's right." Eeyore rumbled one more or less to himself. Give the rabbit time to get his answer. Piglet looked down at the friend in alarm. "Eeyore," he cried. "What can we, how should we, do you think we?" "Yes," Eeyore calmed. "One of those who would be sitting there." "Thank you, Piglet. I've got one idea," Pooh offered instantly, "but I don't suppose it would be a very good one." "I don't suppose it is." He gruggled his head tripped beneath the water. "Come on, Pooh," Rabbit urged. "Let's have it." "Well," Pooh said, "if you all stones and things into the river the side of Eeyore, the stones will make waves, and the waves will wash the other side up." "That's a fine idea, Rabbit. I'm glad we thought of it." "Pooh," said Pooh, and the other ran off, finding a suitable one. Eeyore floated through around the circle until the fine Pooh reappeared, rolling the great bound onto the bridge. Rabbit immediately took charge of Piglet. He directed, "Give Pooh a little more room. Roo, get back to bit." And the Pooh said, "I think a little bit left." No, a little to the right." Rabbit's hesitation. "Then I say now, you can drop it." He turned to Eeyore and said, "Now, Pooh, we'll drop it snow. You're ready? Once, two, three," and now cried. And then Pooh gave me my heave to the shoulder to the off barrage, the right smack on top of Eeyore. Oh dear, Pooh, Eeyore raised sad. Perhaps it wasn't such a good idea after all. Pooh was there peering woofy and spotting his friends had disappeared. Eeyore came shoveling out of the water and onto the riverbank. "Oh, Eeyore," Piglet squealed. "You're all wet. That's perhaps when you've been in a river a long time." Eeyore is just shaking it dry. Piglet did in the process. "How did you fall in the river?" Eeyore says. Rabbit asks. "I did fall in." Eeyore says. "I was bounced in. I was just sitting by the side of the river, my own business, when I received a loud bounce." "But who did it?" Pooh wanted to know. "I expected it was Tigger," Piglet replied. The words were no sooner out of the piglet's mouth than Tigger himself bounced in the sea and knocked the rabbit flat on his back. "Eeyore," Rabbit said, scrambling to his feet. "It was Tigger who bounced you. I didn't bounce him. I happened to be behind everyone and I simply coughed." "You bounced me?" Eeyore said constantly. "I didn't bounce," Tigger repeated. "I coughed. I bouncing and coughing. It's all the same." "Oh no, it's Tigger instead." But after several more rounds of bounce, coughed. "What? Did he not? Did do?" Tigger finally admitted that he had fact bounced everyone into the river. "It was just a joke," he said sheepishly, but no one was laughing, least of all Eeyore. "Some people have no sense of humor," Tigger grumbled as he went bouncing into the woods. "Tigger is so thoughtless," Rabbit said. "Why should Tigger think of me? Everyone said no one else does." "Why do you say that, Eeyore?" Pooh asked, but everyone was already shambling away and hugged and shoulders drooping. Eeyore followed the stream back to the gloomy spot. Then he sat there under what seemed to be a very rainy cloud. He could see the sad face in the water. "Pathetic," Eeyore said with a reflection. Eeyore lumbered around to the other side of the bank and peered into the water again. "Just as I thought," he said. "You know better than Pete." "Pathetic," he repeated. At the sound of footsteps, Eeyore looked around. He saw it said Pooh. "Eeyore," said the poet, "what's the matter?" "That what makes you think anything's the matter," Eeyore said. "You seem so sad." "Why should I be so sad?" Then answering, he then questions, "It's my birthday, the happiest day of the year." "Your birthday," Pooh said, surprised. "Of course," Eeyore says. "Can't you presents?" "No," Pooh replied, looking around in confusion. "Can't you see the cake?" Everyone went on. "The candles, the picketing." "Well, no," Pooh said, confused than before. "Neither can I," Eeyore said with a sigh. "Oh," said Pooh, not quite sure what to say next. He said, "Well, many happy returns on the day, Eeyore." "Thank you, Eeyore, but we can't all have some don't." "Can't we all what?" Pooh asked. "No," guarantee every tone. "No song, no dance. No, here we go around the mulberry bush. But don't worry about me, Pooh," he said. "Go and enjoy yourself. I'll be here and miserable, with no presents, no cake, no candles." As Eeyore's wonderful voice trailed off, Pooh gently patted him on the back and said, "Everyone, wait right here." Then he hurled off as fast as he could. When Pooh got home, he found Piglet jumping and down the door, trying desperately to reach the door knocker. "Here, let me do it." Pooh lifted the knocker. "But Pooh," Piglet started, "I found out what's troubling you, everyone. It's this birthday. Nobody was taking any notice of it." And Pooh looked at the still voice, and whoever lives here certainly takes a long time to answer the door. "But Pooh isn't here. Your house," Piglet said. "Oh, it's answered, Pooh." And the two friends went inside. Pooh declared, "I must pour everyone a present." "But what?" he wondered, looking around for the likely gift. Just then Pooh spotted a small honey pot in the pantry. "Ah, honey, that should be do very well," and turned to Piglet and he said, "What are you giving Eeyore?" For a moment, poor Piglet seemed quite lost, but then he said, "Perhaps I could give Eeyore a balloon." "That," said Pooh, "is a very good idea." "I have one at home," Piglet proclaimed. "I'll go and get it right now." So all Piglet turned in the direction and off he went into the other. Pooh hadn't gone far for the funny feeling kept over him. It began at the very tip of his nose and trickled all the way down to his toes. If someone inside him was saying, "Now then, Pooh, time for a little something." So Pooh reached out in the honey pot and had a little something. Then he had a little more, and for long he had licked the honey pot clean. "Oh, Pooh!" Accidentally wiped the flicked down, dropped in his mouth, and said, "Now I was going. Oh yes, Eeyore, I was." I looked down the empty bar and said, "Oh brother, I must give Eeyore something." But first, Pooh decided he'd go visit a friend, Owl. Owl was busy hanging a picture of his great uncle Robert on the wall. Then Pooh knocked on the door. "Many happy returns, Eeyore's birthday," Pooh said. "You know, that reminds me of the birthday of my great uncle Robert." Owl, so waving Pooh with his wing and pointing to the newly hung portrait with the other. Uncle Robert had just reached the ripe old age of 103. Owl explained, "Through the course of the minute 97. We'll all celebrate, and it was ordered so." "What are you going to give him?" Pooh broke into the moment of Owl paused the breath. "Giving who?" Owl asked, piercing, quizzing at Pooh. "Eeyore," Pooh replied. "Oh, Eeyore." I chuckled, and of course I said, "Oh, where are you going to give him, Pooh?" "I was given the useful pot of keeping things in," said Pooh, holding on to the empty potty pot. "And I, a useful pot," said Owl, peering into the jar. "Eventually someone else was keeping him a journey in." "Yes, it's very useful like that, but I wanted to ask you. You ought to write happy birthday on it," said Owl. "That was what I wanted to ask you. My own spelling is bit horribly." "Very well," Owl said, and he looked at the pot and the pen and he got down to working. It's easier for people to look at it while writing. He turned back to Pooh. After that seemed rather a long time, Owl turned around there and he found a pot all finished. "What do you think of it?" "It looks a lot of words just to say happy birthday." "Hippy happy birthday to Hada birthday." "Well, actually, I wrote happy birthday. And very love, Pooh." Naturally, it takes a good deal of words to say something like that. And oh yes, Pooh said, taking the pot, "Thank you, Owl." While Pooh went to deliver this other one, Owl headed off to Christopher Robin's house. Oh, on the way, he threw directly over the Piglet, who was running along the big red balloon. "Many happy returns on your birthday, Piglet," Owl hollered down. "Many returns to you," Piglet hollered. But as Piglet hollered up the Neglet and turned down, ran into the tree, Piglet bounced off the tree, came up to stop, pop, right on. He had a big red balloon. "Oh dear, shall I? Well, everyone balloons so much, Piglet." So he chuckled off. Everyone's dragged the remains of the balloon behind him. Piglet found his friend mopping it under his leafless tree. "Many happy returns on Piglet. Many the birthdays, everyone grumbled. Yes, Piglet, I bought you a present." "Pardon me, Piglet," Eeyore said, perking up. "My hearing must be gone. I thought you said you bought me a present." "I did. I bought you a balloon." The balloon Eeyore chuckled in his ears. "Did you say balloon?" "Yes, Piglet, but I'm afraid I'm very sorry. But when I was running, that is to bring it, Piglet's words were down and held what was left of Eeyore's birthday balloon." Eeyore took one look at the said red. "My favorite call, how big was it?" He couldn't help asking. "As big as me," Piglet replied. "My favorite size," Eeyore whistled. Eeyore was sadly eyeing the shredded red balloon with Pooh. It appeared. "I bought you a little present, Eeyore." He announced a useful pot, and he got very happy birthday. "I love you," with a Pooh written on it. It's putting things in. Like a balloon, Eeyore had hopefully, "Oh no, balloon are much too big." Pooh began even as Eeyore picked up a balloon, their teething and dropping into the very useful pot. "Does it fit?" Pooh marveled that Eeyore carefully pulled into the balloon out of the pot, dropped it back in again. "Eeyore, I'm very sad. I'm glad I've given you a useful pot to put things in." "I'm very glad. I thought I'd given you something to put in a useful pot, Piglet." Eeyore says this. I looked very glad. It was Christopher Robin arrived. Along with the owl, Kaga, Ro, Robert, love chocolate cake. But after friends all sang happy birthday, Eeyore made a wish and blew out the candles. Then Owl clapped his hands, cried, "Bravo, good show. This reminds me of a party once gave me a great uncle Robert. Once he barely began the story interrupted by a cheerful hollow." "Oh no, no, no." Robert was triggered, bounced right into him, knocked him to the ground. "Hello, Trigger, oh, we're having a party. A party," cried. Oh boy, Triggers love parties." And with no further ado, he bounced over to the table and grabbed a fistful of cake. "You've got to love the nerve sewing up here after that what you did to Eeyore," Rabbit scolded Trigger. "I think you should leave now." "Ah, let him stay," said Roo. "What do you think?" Christopher Robin Pooh asked. "I think Christopher Robin will be ought to play Pooh sticks. And that's exactly what they did. Eeyore, who had never played the game before, won more times than anybody else. But poor Tigger hadn't won at all. When it was time for everyone to go home, Tigger drew down his sticks and grumbled, "Tiggers don't like Pooh sticks." Instead of going off the usual bouncy way, he walked off with a head down and no bouncing at all. "I'd be happy to tell you my secret of winning at Pooh sticks," Eeyore said, hurrying after Tigger. "It was easy. You just have to let your stick drop in a twitchy sort of way." "Oh yeah?" The Tigger brightened up immediately. "I forgot to twitch. That was a problem." Then, just because he was feeling so happy, he began bouncing again. And of course, he began right into Eeyore. Meanwhile, Pooh, Piglet, and Christopher and Ron lingered onto the bridge, quietly watching the peaceful stream. At last, Piglet said, "Trigger's all right." "Really? Of course," Christopher agreed. "Everybody's really," Pooh mused. "That's what I think." Hesitated a moment and asked, "I don't suppose I'm right. I'm supposed, of course, Pooh said, 'Silly old bear.'"